This is Street Chants on SWBN TV.
Our God is good and His mercies abound unto us, helping us to reach out unto you with Street Chants on SWBN TV. We are
Basefoni Timothy
and Comfort Isaac. Welcome. There seems to be murmuring and complaining in our streets following the harsh economic realities of our time. We went to the street to ask our people, how has the harsh economic condition affected their Christian living? Trust our people. They opened up and spoke their hearts out. If you don't mind, let's watch together.
Sincerely, it has really affected me well negatively because the present situation in this country, Nigeria, is very bad. It's really, really bad. If there's a word to justify it more than that bad, it's the term we should use. The situation has made me to tell lies. It has made me to trick people to get their money. It has made me to go against my own personal will. Yes. The status I set for myself, if I should explain it well, visibly, I would say, if I were to be a lady, it has made me to fornicate just to feed, to get food on the table. As a family man, it has made me to overstress myself. And again, I will say it again and again. I've duped people just to survive, which has not been my life previously. Yeah, definitely there are many means, but if I can remember back what we were told, the truth was that go to school, get good grade, get certificate, and get a good job. That era has come and gone. Standing before you, I'm a man with almost 4 different skills. I've gone hustling to the extent working at Dangote refinery, which we were treated like animals. That we were paid like less than what we're supposed to pay. So to the extent that I nearly crossed the border to Lagos, to Ghana to go and hustle, but doing all these things, still seeing no positive results. Establishing a workshop by the roadside, at the end of the year, the government will come and give you heavy taxes, not minding that you pay other bills, not minding that you have a family to care for. They take almost all you have. So even as a man, sometimes humanly we should not deceive ourselves. You get weakened than say pushing up. You have no option that maybe going to learn other dubious things at least to see the next day. Okay, to me, before we look for a solution, we must look at the causes. I think personally as a historian in the making, one of the things that has affected us is that the way we had our independence, it was all about diplomatically, everything on the table. But if Nigeria was a country, if we had our independence, or we have experienced something if we had our independence through struggle, a bloody struggle like what the people had in France, like the revolution, I think it would have been better. The nation, the possible solution. What I'm saying is that everybody need to rise up. The youths, our parents need to stop telling us a slogan that you are the only child I have. We don't go up to the streets and fight. We need to change it, and it is only the violent. That way religiously, it is stated that only the violence take care of it by force. But it is misinterpreted to us. Violent, when you hear the word violent, we should not give it a second definition. This present government to set up new stethoscope. I think that's my own view. I should be very realistic.
The economic situation in Nigeria has really affected my Christian life. It has made me compromise and do a lot of things I'm not supposed to do, which is against the will of God and all. Now, going into fraud and to make money, and I know it sounds weird, but at least I did it one of those times. Being depressed and all, but in all, God has proven Himself as God. He had come through for me in several ways, in one way or the other. I've done so many things I would not even want to talk about because I'm ashamed of it. I feel like if the economic situation of this country was in a better position and was very good, some people and some young youth, not just youths and even parents. I know of a person a woman, she's married, has children. Just to cater for her family, she would lie to, they'll tell her, okay, go and do this one. she's going to lie to add money, just like the other person said, to add money just because of the economic situation. People who have their certificates come out from the university but no jobs and all. So like I feel like if the government is being worked on, things will get better. But regardless, God has really come through for me in various ways, using my parents, loved ones, then business. People have patronized me and it has helped me financially too and stuff. So I just give God all the glory.
Well, I will actually thank you for the question. First, it's a nice question. And I did look at things, the country right now, the economic state is very terrible. It's affecting even the middle class right now. And when it comes to religion, like religiously, my faith my Christian faith, it hasn't really affected my Christian faith because all I do is it's me and God. And I would say it's just things that is happening around, material things like money and having transport to transport yourself from here to the church. Like me, where I stay is actually far, but I don't look at those things because it doesn't matter. When I have, I go. When I don't have, I just stay. But my faith with God is intact and it's inside. You don't know what's happening. The economic state in the country doesn't affect me inwardly. So I will say, in that aspect, it has not done anything. But the state of this country is so terrible, I must say that. And you can see it around too. It's actually high and bad. So thank you.
I must say, it has affected a lot. Even if it's not just me, but the people around me too. I'll just give a clear example how it has affected me and the people around me, because in church, we go to church every Sunday. We make it like a personal duty that we go to church. We say that we'll not wash clothes and all those stuff, but we have to go to church. So when we go to church, there's this particular stuff that they do that gets me so interested. You go to church, they'll say, please, we want to donate. We want to renovate this particular side of the church, that we should please, anything we have. They'll start from like 1,000 naira. Some they'll even say 5k, 20k, and all those. And I'm like, okay, for those that have, they will go. For those that don't, will just be idle. At least to me, I feel like every Sunday they are donating. I feel like they should gather themselves, think of these people that I need. There are a lot of people there in that church, they just come just to listen to the word of God, but at least they don't have food to eat. Sometimes they just dress up. You see them, even yourself, you'll be shy. You'll be like, to even be them is something else. At least one Sunday, all the money you've gathered, you just said, let me open a business idea for these people. Just give them 20,000 naira. 20,000 naira to just do something for themselves. Bomba. Some churches, they'll carry the money. Instead of them to do the renovation now, they'll keep it. And it's very, very annoying. Every Sunday, they did this particular thing they used to say, weekly donation. So that means you go and save, then that Sunday now, you now come and give it. How? Why? So that's for me. I don't know about others, but me, I've said my own.
I got much to say, but for time factor, I'll just summarize the whole story. The economic has been very barrier to us. We distance worshiper. First of all, let's get to the case of transportation. It's very difficult. I skip so many midweek services just because of transportation issues, just to adapt to my pocket and everything. Outside that, the high cost of living and the charges, even it was written in the Bible that he that worketh from the temple eats from the temple, and due to this fact, pastors are now in high demand of offering and everything, affecting us. We students, we don't have enough, but just have to give just to fulfill our righteousness. So in conclusion, the economy has been a mess. If I had my ways, I would just walk over, manipulate the whole thing, and make it work out the way I wish. Because When I'm seeing this stuff, I don't believe the economy will be better in any time soon, like even in 10 years' time. Because since I was born, I've always been telling me it will be, it will be. And it's been years upon years, they keep telling us it will be. So when will this actually be? Is it when Christ comes? So the economy is, I don't see any possible solution anytime soon, especially with the present government on seat. I have some laxes and everything. Even my fellowship members, they keep complaining. You don't come over for church service, you don't do this, you don't do that. Why? The high cost of living, the transportation, and everything. Over my church, we do offering, and I do once in a time. The normal me, where they always give offering. Come to think of it, by the time you raise in your pocket, I don't get that, I go chop when I go back. Oh. Baba God, just hold this one first, make I find my own. Yeah, so the thing don't choke me for neck. But sure, Baba God, everything will be fine, we just believe.
Well, does not really affect my Christian faith because it has nothing to do with Bible. It's only transport to church at times is the problem. I pay my tithe regularly. That does not stop me from paying my tithe 1/10 of what I am aiming a month. So that is that. Yes, because I have my Bible already. I'm not buying Bible. It's only offering. Then offering is not compulsory. If you don't have, it's not compulsory. Me, I cannot cheat like this Indomie that I'm doing. Because they have increased the price. So what I do is, when I buy the Indomie, I'll come and divide it by 40, the amount by 40. Then I will know. Then from there, that is how I will sell it. I cannot cheat. It's not good as a believer. It does not profit me in anything. My dear, to Christian, well. It's not really about Christian, it's God. That God should, because Christian will not do anything. We are praying. It's only God for God to hear our prayer, to hear our cries, because the thing really affects us in our family. Gari now is 5 for 1,000 naira. Like me, I buy Gari 3,000 naira every day. So that is the area it's affecting me. It does not affect my Christian life. So it's affecting me in my house because we are not eating the way we're supposed to eat. We are not eating balanced diet again. So that is the area. So we are praying that God should come to our rescue, that God should help us. So I don't know whether it's God that wants us to suffer this because of how things are, because maybe we have disobeyed, defeating from God's commandments. So I don't know. We are praying that God should come to our rescue, that God should have mercy upon us.
In the aspect of where I used to worship, I'm a Redeemer. I do worship at Etagbo by Ujinku. Then I used to use 200 naira and pay my TP. Let me just say 2 and 4 is 400 with my family. And then I will still have offering to pay. But right now, I cannot even afford the transport fare or this offering to pay. I have to change to another brand because I discovered that when I keep on going there, I spend up to 1.5 with my family. And then when I get to church, I will not have offering to give to God or neither to even give to my children. So I have to change the parish to the nearby one so that I can be able to pay my offering. I think a lot now, especially like a family woman like I am. I think a lot. Now sometimes I will go to market, I even lose concern. I will look for place and stand and calculate. I took some amount to the market. What and what have I bought? I will start counting my finger, my leg to see whether someone have cheated me. But at the end of the day, I will realize that they did not cheat me. It's just the price, things that is expensive. I just pray God Almighty will touch our leaders so that they will bring the price of things like before, so that we, the middle people, we can be able to get it.
Thank you. By special grace of God, I'm a Christian, and I'm part of this country, Nigeria, and I still feel the same economic hardship as every other person who is not a Christian, but also those who are Christians. Well, I feel it something that is affecting everybody, and for me, it doesn't change my belief on God. But for other things, maybe probably where you used to go to church, if for those who are staying far from church, which myself also, if I go to church, maybe there's not much transport or you don't have enough to even think of what to eat and then go to church, you might consider the option of staying at home and eat instead of going to church most times. Knowing quite well that the transport will not be enough to take you to church and also feed you. So that is what we go through. So the situation is harsh on everyone and in every sector. So I'm not excluded. I feel the same thing. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time.
People really are going through a lot. My co-anchor Abbas Yefon is here. My bros.
Yeah,
can you invite our guest? So can you invite our guest into the studio?
Okay, all right. It feels so exciting to be here again. So it's in my place at this point in time to invite and to introduce our guest for this program. So our guest for today is a Christian of note and a minister of the Word of Life who is based in the commercial city of Lagos, Nigeria. Welcome, Amos Gaga, to the studio.
Good evening, viewers. It's my pleasure to be on this program.
Thank you very much, sir. Yeah. Okay, sir, I'm going to begin by asking you this. Knowing that we understand the realities of the harsh situation of our country and the economy, so I want to ask this. Does our Christians over there in Lagos, are they also going through this process of murmuring, complaining about the harsh situation in Lagos?
I wouldn't say murmuring or complaining, but one thing that is very clear, that we as Christians, as believers, we are not immune from the effects of the macroeconomic development in our country. We go to the same markets, we buy fuel, electricity, so we are impacted by the changes in the macro environment. Either people are complaining or murmuring, I can't say, but something that is very clear is that we are equally impacted by the negative changes in our macro environment.
Okay, still on the harsh economic realities, should Christians be affected negatively by things that affect every other person?
As a follow-up to the previous question, since we are not immune from the dynamics in our environment, even though some Christians will quote certain scriptures that reference we are in this world, but we're not part of this world. So there was light in Goshen, and there was darkness in Egypt. But the reality is that you are not operating outside an ecosystem. You are currently in Nigeria. You are not in outer space. And the dynamics of macro is affecting all inhabitants of that geographical location. So yes, whatever is happening within our ecosystem, Christians are impacted. But during the course of this conversation, how do we respond will be the differentiator as to the impact on the Christian versus the non-Christian.
So, sir, what do you think Christians should do differently to ensure that they are not impacted by this negative, harsh economy?
For me, I would think that the train has already left the station. When you say what should we do differently, the train has already left the station. So it's kind of some reactive response to the developments in our environment. Be that as it may, I will just highlight some key, simple steps that we can do to mitigate the current challenges that we have. But later on in the conversation, we'll talk about some other measures that will insulate the believer from challenges that are still coming in the future. So the first one, in the light of the changes in our environment, is number one, the believer should adjust his spending pattern. He has to focus on what he has control over in terms of making hard choices. That's number one. Adjust your spending pattern. You can't be complaining, oh, things are hard, things are difficult, and then continue to spend the way you used to spend. There needs to be an adjustment. Number two, The believer needs to distinguish between his needs and wants. And in basic economics, needs are defined as a necessity of life, while wants are unlimited. There are so many things that you need and want. But you need to distinguish the difference and focus on your needs. Focus on what matters. You need to track your expenses. Number 3, you need to rejig your ecosystem. What do I mean by rejigging your ecosystem? Look at your cycle of association. Who are the people that you associate with? The kind of business that you are involved with, the kind of activities that you are involved with. When I say tweak your ecosystem, abandon sinking relationships, sinking activities, things that don't have value to you. This is the time to rejig your ecosystem. Planning ahead. We in this part of the world, we are what I call fast food believers. We want things now, now, now. That mentality is also in Christendom. But you can plan your life, not just live your life. You can design your life. Your life can be intentional, but that's something that is missing in our environment. We don't have a long-term view to life. It's all about short-term. You can have an outlook of 20 years and begin to walk towards it. But most of the time, the outlook that we have is now, now, now. Miracle now, now, now. Changes now, now. You also have the bit around the God factor. We are believers. We don't live outside God. So you must trust God and appropriate divine provisions at such times like this. God can be leading you in certain direction. You must obey and respond. And then there's something I called adopt the opposite thinking mindset. At such a time like this, it's not the mindset of the victim, of complaining, of anger, but the mindset of a victor, the mindset of a solution provider. You must adopt the opposite thinking mindset. When people say there is a casting down, you must say there is a lifting up. And then something that is unusual. This is the time to demonstrate generosity and compassion. You might argue that I don't even have, and you are telling me to give. But that is part of the opposite thinking mindset. At such difficult and challenging times like this, it is time for us to show and to invest in other people's life. No matter how small, I can assure that God will respond to such giving at such time like this. And then, lastly, financial literacy is something we need to begin to advocate seriously amongst believers. There are things you can invest in, there are things you can plan around, so that in the times of depression, when others are saying there's a casting down, you will say there is a lifting up. And these are just few keys or principles that believers can do at such a time. We're already at the bottom of the trough. The train has left the station, but even though you're at the bottom, you can begin to do certain things that will make the impact on you much, much more minimal. I talked about adjusting your spend. I used to subscribe to DSTV, for example. Premium, 40,000. Is it a need or a want? For me, as far as I'm concerned, it's a want. For the last how many months, I've scrapped it. I've not died. Nobody has died. Nobody has suffered any else. But that's 40,000 that I've saved. And I've channeled that 40,000 to bless other people's lives. So there are many other things in our lives that are wants that we can do drastic changes and then be able to overcome the challenges that we currently have. I will stop at this point and then hopefully provide further clarification as the interview goes on.
So, sir, is there any role the body of Christ, when I mean the body, the church of the living God, is there any role that the church should play to caution the effect of what is going on with the people?
Definitely. There are positive roles that the church will play. And one of them, which we've been doing very well, which is prayer and intercession, that God will intervene in the affairs of men's life. We've been doing that very well. But for me, I see both sides, the works and faith. Just like James would say, faith without works is dead. So we've been doing a lot of the faith, which is the prayer and intercession. But I just want to focus on the works. And one of them is the practical assistance at such times like this. I don't know how many of the churches have food banks. There are people that cannot afford 3 square meals, for example. They come to church on Sunday, they have food bank package that they can take. In other climes, these folks are not even believers. You can see refugees just lined up in front of some food banks and they get 3 square meals. These are not believers. So it's something we need to practice. Food banks in our local assembly, we can deploy it differently, but it's something that can minister to the need of people that don't have food to eat. We also have clothing drives. There are so many people with their wardrobe filled up, clothes that they've not worn for the last 2 or 3 years. We could have arrangement where you bring all those clothes, ironed, well prepared, bring it to the church, and they have a unit within the church that can distribute to people that don't have clothes. How about financial counseling? Some of the things that we've spoken about, they're not far-fetched, but you won't believe it that people are not financially disciplined. This is the time to organize either virtual or on-site financial counseling session. How to manage your scarce resources. Are there tricks? Are there things you can do differently? You also have job placement services, that the church can actively be involved in. And then something that is very key to me is farming. A lot of the churches, especially in this part of Nigeria, Lagos as is, they occupy large expanse of land. And I just wonder, what are they generating? Big cathedrals, the post you can generate, can accommodate 300,000. But you're not generating value. You're just crying unto God every Friday. I give you an example. China, with a population of 2 billion, has 10% of that population as Christians. And so if you take 10% of 2 billion, that is 200 million, which is more than the Christian population in Nigeria. They are not as spiritual as we are, but they are self-sufficient. We import all sorts from that part of the world, but it's the same God. And so we must have a rethink how the church can practically impact the lives of his people. Not coming to church every Friday, people are crying to God, God intervene, when you can easily cultivate the expanse of land, yam, tubers, okra, vegetables, and then you can make impact in the lives of the people. And then finally for me, you have churches in this part of the world. The resources that they control is bigger than some states in Nigeria. I'm doing a book on the economics of church. A church is controlling resources that is bigger than some states, and yet they're not creating value. They're not impacting the lives of people. Yes, you have them in health, you have them in education and some charity work. But if folks are controlling close to like 3 trillion, some are into billions of naira, some are into millions of dollars, churches in this country. And yet we go to church on Friday night or vigil and crying to God to intervene. God has already given you the resources to make a difference in the lives of the people. So the church, yes, I'm not saying leave prayer, leave fasting, leave the ministry of the word, but you must cater for the well-being of the people. The gospel is a complete gospel, spirit, soul, and body. And that's what we saw in the missionaries that came. They brought the gospel, but you find them in health, you find them in education, you find them in vocational. They affected the body of the people. But we, in these latter days, we are just focusing on the spiritual. And then the health and the body of the people we've left dormant. So for me, it's a major role, especially in this time of challenges that we have in the country, that the church should be involved in making a difference. They should create value. They should make a difference in the lives of the people, not just getting and talking about. I gave an example somewhere. There's a church in one of these West African countries that is built with gold. A church is built with gold. Enter, but the poverty level is below Nigeria. How do you reconcile it? You are building a church with gold, and yet the people are extremely poor. Misplaced priority. That's something that the church needs to address if they are going to intervene at such difficult times like this. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. In fact, your insight to this topic of discussion is very intriguing, and I'm already feeling that we should go on and on. I had a lot of follow-up questions, but you've addressed them whilst you were answering the questions we asked you. So, sir, I still want you to buttress on what you have what you've already laid out for us. I remember you mentioned five very important tips, guidelines for us to follow to cushion this harsh economy. So, sir, please give us again a very distinct counsel to the general public what we should do as an advice to the body of Christ.
For me, I read economics first degree. This is cycle. We have what we call depression. It will pass. And then you have reflation. The economy will boom. And then you have a depression again. So what do we need to do as believers? We need to begin to think long term. As individuals, as a church, we need to begin to think long term. Tomorrow is not an accident. And that's what we do in this part of the world. God intervened. God let us have lights. God let us have water. God let us have roads. We are outsourcing all our issues to God. I give you an example of China. They called on the same God. But nobody prays God give us light, or God give us water, or God taught the government to make roads. Something is just basically wrong with the way we practice Christianity. So number one, we must think long term. A 5 to 10 year plan, a 20-year plan. Even as a young believer, as a father, as a church, we must have that plan. What do we want to achieve? And begin to work intentionally to achieve those goals. That's number one. Number two, we must adopt the solution provider mindset. Yes, things are hard now, but in the midst of this hardship, there are opportunities. Recently I just read in the news a company is shutting down and leaving Lagos. But the mindset, Nigerian economy is crumbling. Nigerian economy. What struck me that company is leaving Nigeria. Can I put a group of friends together to buy that distressed company? Is there a conversion opportunity in that company that we could do something else? They were into a particular line of products, but now that they are exiting the country, it's going to be as a distress sale. I'm already seeing an opportunity there to say, look, 1, 2, 3 friends, can we look at this? What is doable from this company that is leaving Nigeria? But if you don't have that solution mindset, you will miss all the opportunities in the midst of the pains and the groanings around us. Number 3, we need to begin to do the things that God has commissioned us to do. In Genesis 1:28, God told man to replenish the earth, to subdue the earth, to multiply the earth, to fill the earth. But we're not doing it. On Fridays, we are turning the people's hearts. Don't misunderstand me, to cry unto God. But there are things that God has enabled you to do. Do them. Don't outsource your work to God. That's what we do. Outsourcing all our issues to God, where there are things we can do. And the church is well positioned to set an example of what the kingdom of God looks like. You know, we talked about Goshen, Egypt, and Canaan. There was 7 years of plenty, and then there was 7 years of famine. In the 7 years of plenty, Canaan and Egypt had both experiences. But on account of light that Joseph had, he could plan for the 7 years of plenty. And when the 7 years of famine came, where others are saying there is a casting down, the people in Egypt could say there is a lifting up. But the lifting up is not God intervening or God miraculously providing food. Somebody used God-given wisdom to plan. God used God-given wisdom to build silos, and they store foods, they store grains. That is the lifting up. But we in this part of the world, we expect magic. So you see Joseph plan during that 7 years. But the people in Canaan didn't have that insight. They ate everything. And when the famine came, they had to come to Egypt to look for food. So friends, as believers, God has granted us light and insight to begin to plan, to begin to do certain things differently today. For tomorrow, there's still going to be depression. Not necessarily tomorrow, under 5 years or 6 years. But during that period of depression, you are prepared. I give you an example. In 2014, I did a presentation somewhere among the brethren in Enugu. And I said, look, brethren, diversify your savings. Put some money in foreign currency. Do this, do this, do this, do this. That was 2014. This is 2024. This is almost like 10 years later. And we saw all the things that happened with the currency. Those people that heeded the light then, when people are groaning, oh, dollar has gone to 2,000. Oh, dollar has done this. The people that had light and responded will be smiling. That is the way you interpret scripture. You have done what you need to do. In the time of darkness, you'll be enjoying light. So we need to begin to put into practice the things that we are taught in churches. And that's just the missing gap in the way we practice our Christianity here. I will stop at this point. Thank you.
All right. So thank you so much, sir. Thank you. And God bless you for your time with us at the studio. So we hope that next time when we call on you for a program like this on Street Chants, we'll be so glad to have you join us again.
Yes. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you for the time spent. I hope these little tips will be of use to our viewers out there. We need to begin practice some of the things that we preach. Thank you.
Dear viewer, we had as our studio guest Amos Gaga, a Lagos-based minister of the Gospel of Christ. So right about now, I'm going to push it over to you.
Okay, oh well, this is where we must end the show for today. Join us in our next outing. Remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe to our channel. Bosefon, any word for your viewer?
Yes, you see those things that were outlined. My advice to us and to you, let us be proactive at this point in time.
Yeah.
And not just be the hearer only, but become proactive doer of the things that we've heard. And I tell you, we'll live a better life. We will shine as light in this dark world. God bless you.
Bless you. I am Comfort Isaac. Don't forget, he that keepeth Israel will surely keep you in this hour of temptation in this world. This is SWBN TV.
SWBN TV.